Hello and thanks for joining us. This is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon of First Out Top Stories. Goodluck Jonathan faces mounting pressure to drop presidential bid. Governors back bill on reserved seats for women. Reps move to limit president's control over EFCC chairman. Kanu fails to open defense again as court adjourns till Monday. President Tinubu tasked the new INEC chairman on electoral integrity. On international scene, Trump hit Russia's oil giants with sanctions. And in sport, Portland Trail Blazers coach and Miami Heat player arrested in NBA gambling case. Those are our top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. We begin the news at noon with politics, where fresh pressure is mounting on former President Goodluck Jonathan to shelve his rumored plan to contest the presidency in the 2027 general elections, as prominent figures in the Niger Delta intensify efforts to persuade him to instead support the re-election of President Bola Tinubu. According to information, ex-militant leader Government Ekpemukpolo, also known as Tompolo, is leading the regional movement urging Jonathan to drop his alleged presidential ambition and rally behind President Tinubu's second-term bid. It was gathered that Tompolo, accompanied by top associates, including the managing director of Tantina Security Services Nigeria Limited, Keshin Ponde, and the deputy governor candidate of the All Progressive Congress in the 2023 Bayelsa State election, Joshua Masiva, among others, paid a private visit to Jonathan at his Otoke home in Ogbia local government area of Bayelsa State on October 16. The meeting, which reportedly lasted several hours, was Tompolo's first public appearance in nearly 10 years, an indication of the gravity of his mission. Contrary to initial media reports suggesting that discussions centered on peace and security in the Niger Delta, multiple sources have now disclosed that the visit was primarily political. Tompolo's visit was aimed at discouraging Jonathan from seeking the presidency and urging him to support President Tinubu's re-election in 2027. The National Governors Forum (NGF) has pledged its full support for the bill seeking reserved seats for women in Nigeria's legislature. In a statement issued at the end of their meeting in the early hours of Friday, the governors urged the members to actively lobby both federal and state lawmakers to ensure the passage of the proposed legislation, which aims to increase women's representation in political office. The bill, scheduled for a vote at the National Assembly, seeks to amend the 1999 Constitution. It proposes the creation of special constituencies exclusively contested by women in both the national and state assemblies, aimed at temporarily boosting women's participation in governance. The forum also commended the federal government's fiscal policies, particularly those driven by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), which have been aimed at stabilizing the nation's economy. Governors expressed their support for these measures and their commitment to further collaborate with relevant federal authorities. The House of Representatives has moved to grant the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) more powers to full independence to enhance its operational efficiency. Sponsor of the bill, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, while leading debates on its general principles, said the bill seeks to strengthen the institutional independence, operational efficiency, and accountability framework of the EFCC with a view to making the Commission more effective in combating the growing complexities of economic and financial crimes in Nigeria. He noted that when the EFCC Act was enacted in 2004, it provided Nigeria with a pioneering legal framework to tackle corruption and financial crimes. But 2 decades later, the landscape of financial crimes has evolved far beyond what the current law envisaged. He further argued that the existing act does not provide sufficient guarantees for the independence of the Commission, exposing it to external influence and political interference. Take a listen.
In institutional independence, this bill will provide EFCC. This bill that the EFCC shall be independent and not subjected to the direction or control of any person or authority in the performance of its function. The removal of the chairman will require approval of two-thirds majority of both the Senate and the House of Representatives, thereby safeguarding the tenure and integrity of the leadership. It will equally guarantee expanded composition, where membership of the Commission will be broadened to include eminent Nigerians. It equally adds to the operational efficiency of the EFCC by empowering it with laws and regulation. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the bill presents a decisive step towards strengthening Nigeria's anti-corruption framework. It seeks to ensure that EFCC operates as an independent, professional, and transparent institution that is responsive to modern financial crime realities. This amendment will not only ensure Nigeria's global reputation, but also promote good governance, economic stability, and public confidence in the fight against corruption.
Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, on Friday failed to open his defense for the second time at the Federal High Court in Abuja in the alleged terrorism trial. Kanu opted to defend himself, told Justice James Omotosho upon resumed hearing that his disengaged lawyers were yet to hand over the case file to him. The IPOB leader then sought an adjournment to enable him prepare for his defense. Although counsel for the federal government, Adegboyega Owomolo, did not oppose the application, the senior lawyer prayed the courts to stand by the standing order which directed Kanu to defend himself within 6 days. Justice Omotosho, who begged Kanu to make judicious use of the opportunity offered to him in line with Section 36 of the Constitution to defend himself, said the defendant cannot be enforced to do so if he decided to waive the right. The judge adjourned the matter until Monday for Kanu to open his defense. President Bola Tinubu has tasked the newly sworn-in INEC chairman Joash Amukpiton to defend the integrity of Nigeria's elections and strengthen the institutional capacity of the electoral body. President Tinubu gave the charge at the State House Abuja after administering the oath of office to the new INEC chairman during an expanded session of the National Economic Council. Take a listen.
Distinguished guests, Head of Service, ladies and gentlemen, let me first begin by congratulating Professor Josiah Oblipi on the appointment as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Your nomination for the important role and the subsequent confirmation by the Senate is a testament to your capacity and the confidence reposed in you by both the executive and the legislative arm of government. The significant achievement marked the beginning of a challenging yet rewarding journey, and I trust that you will approach your responsibilities with the highest level of integrity, dedication, and patriotism. Our democracy has come a long way in 25 years. We have consolidated and strengthened our democratic institutions, particularly our electoral system, through innovation and reforms. We have learned a great deal along the way and have improved significantly from where we were many years ago. We must now remain committed to the principles that underpin democracy in a complex, multifaceted society.
The 58-year-old professor outlined his plans to reform Nigeria's electoral system. The new INEC chairman resumed office immediately. Amukwiton succeeds Mahmoud Yakubu, whose tenure as INEC chairman ran from 2015 to 2025. Listen to Joash Amukwiton.
Also the oath as the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission. So I will reaffirm what I have just taken, that I'm going to defend the Constitution and the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as far as it relates to the electoral system. And like the president said, I was given a clear charge to ensure credible, fair and free election. Not just that I will ensure that that is done, I'm also going to engage all the stakeholders, because no matter how you set the barometer and the level of success, you still need all the stakeholders to be able to succeed.
That was Professor Joash Amukwiton, the new INEC chairman who has resumed office. If you're just tuning in, this is Voice of the People 90.3 FM and you're listening to the news. Let's go straight to our news analysis, where we'll have Raymond Adegboyega on standby. He's a current affairs analyst and of course professor of accounting, banking and finance, British American Universities, University, Florida, USA. Professor Adegboyega, thank you very much for joining us on the news at 12.
How are you? Good afternoon or good evening.
Oh, it is still afternoon.
Oh, still afternoon. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, good noon. I say good noon.
Okay, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Let's go straight to the first talking point, where stories emerging that there are mounting pressures for Jonathan to not contest at the 2027 general election. Personally, I think this story doesn't make sense. I don't know about you, because first of all, it's just been rumored that President Jonathan, the PDP has been trying very hard to bring Jonathan back to contest for the presidential election in 2027, and of course Goodluck Jonathan, the former president, have not come out to either deny or say if the rumor is true. So the rumor have been going on overdrive, and then there are people that are saying constitutionally Jonathan is not eligible to contest again for presidency. The story is just everywhere. So I don't know why we are hearing story that there is pressure on him not to contest for the coming 2027 general election in the office of the presidency. What do you think about that story?
In the first instance, you have to realize one thing, that the APC is thinking that if Jonathan should contest, that would be a kind of a threat to President Ahmed Tinubu second time coming in. And that's one of the main reasons why people are now saying he should not contest, because they see him as only the preferable candidate among the remaining candidates that remain will be contesting 2077 with President Bola Ahmed. But in the first system, Jonathan himself is trying to be very, very extraordinarily careful, and that's why you are having a kind of conflicting report about that issue. There are four fundamental factors against Jonathan if he contests, and he cannot win. I will tell you why. In the first instance, the PDP structure is already collapsed. So which structure does he want to use? Two, there's one problem about this Bayelsa, Rivers, and the Southeast states that have already, a majority of the powerful politicians, they have defected to APC. So you can see that you can never have any gap in that area again. That's one of the factors that Jonathan himself is trying to be very, very careful about not to come out and then lose at the end of the day. And the third factor is, there's one thing, even the PDP, if you cannot get the PDP ticket, because there's one person or one governor that is so desperate to get ticket of the PDP now, in order to use to bargain with Bola Ahmed Tinubu in favor of his own interest because of this EFCC after leaving the office. That governor.
Are you talking about Sheyi Makinde, or you're talking about
my brother? That's my governor of your state. I'm saying it. That's it. Because what he's trying to do is to collect the ticket and make sure that he used to bargain so that the EFCC will not chase him after his tenure. That's what he's trying to do. He's not using the ticket to win any election. So if you look at all these factors, Jonathan is trying to be very, very careful to say that he will not just come out, and at the end of the day, he will not become irrelevant, and that will cause a kind of hatred between him and Ahmed Tinubu, because he himself is trying to play safe, and that's if you look at those factors, that's what the factor that's working against him, and that's why that we're having a conflicting news about whether it's going to contest or not to contest. But the APC see Jonathan as the only candidate that actually face President Ahmed Tinubu for 2027. But the structure is not there for him.
Let's not also talk about the Wike factor, who is very, very loyal to.
Look at the Wike is one that, I don't know why we are not ready to face reality. Wike is the one that actually destroyed PDP and destroyed the Southeast and the Bayelsa and River State area. Is the one that weakened the political structure in that place in favor of APC and against PDP. So Wike factor is also fundamental, even though at the end of the day he himself will become politically irrelevant, but that will be after 2027.
But the fact that he's not even come out to even deny the rumor,
you see,
giving some credence to.
There's one thing I've told you already, that it's time to be extremely careful, because you know that the last election he actually worked in favor of President Ahmed Tinubu. All these politicians we have in Nigeria, they are only after their own personal interest, not the interest of the nation. He is very trying to be extremely careful so that he will not actually be an enemy to the President Ahmed Tinubu if Tinubu actually won 2027 election. That's why he says not coming out. Because if he's a serious candidate and is ready to come out in 2027, by this time now he's supposed to be actually flying the flag and then telling people to move around. Even when you see one of his closest supporters, he has already joined the PD. I forgot the name of that guy yesterday. He joined PAPC day before yesterday. One of his close associates, political associates, has joined APC. So you can see that Jonathan, I don't see him as a serious candidate contesting 2027.
And I've also heard some people say that, even if PDP still have a platform, even if PDP was still intact, and even if a lot of his close associates and others have not defected to APC. The other issue I've heard people say is, Jonathan have actually lost his credibility in the sense that, in the sense that he's been sitting pretty since after handing over his presidency and being quiet, in PDP tearing itself apart, and he has not even come out to say let him try to see if he can be a glue that will bring PDP back together. He's just been very silent why PDP have been tearing itself apart, thanks to Wike and some other persons still in the party.
You have to realize one thing, that if you are actually watching the political terrain of Nigeria and the Nigerian political terrain, you look at Jonathan came by the way of out of the Obasanjo interest to make sure he imposes a candidate on Nigeria as a PDP as a whole in 2017 or 15. It's not that Jonathan was not a politician, he was not a good administrator. They just called him just to fill the vacuum and protect the interest of Obasanjo and some political associate then. But you can't blame Jonathan for what he's doing now, because he doesn't have the wherewithal, he doesn't have the experience, he doesn't have the will and ability to actually rule. Even when he was the president, he was one that was not ruling. Since associates were the one actually in charge. Because what I expected from him is to be actually, apart from contesting, supposed to be involving national issue, trying to advise and provide solution to some of these political problems we are having in Nigeria. I'm sorry to say, Jonathan has been so quiet, and I don't know. He's not a politician and he's not a good administrator, the way I say. That's that's my own perception. I'm not trying to reduce him or his personality, but if you look at it, he was just called. He was not in politics, because if you from antecedent, you will learn that it was the wife that was actually involved in politics. But because my father, the wife just call him to come up on board and come and become this and come and become that. So you cannot blame him for that. He's weak in that area. His political will is very, very weak, and it's not that strong. So that's why he's behaving in that manner. If somebody that's actually politically strong and politically minded would have been actually involved and tried to say something, even if you want to contest, and people have seen that a kind of strength and ability and capability in him. You understand?
Okay, let's go to the second topic for discussion, where the National Governors Forum has pledged its full support for the bill seeking reserved seat for women in Nigeria's legislature. Now, bills to allow female to take exclusively certain positions in Nigerian politics have divided the nation. There have been those, on one hand, that says it reduces the credibility of women and the capacity for them to compete, especially at a time where feminists have come out to say what a man can do, a woman can do too. So women should be given an equal opportunity to fight for their thing, to fight for their seat. That's one hand. And then on the other hand, we have some other Nigerians that are saying we are still in a terrain that is heavily patriotic, where, you know, like in so many countries of the world, we've had female president, female vice president, female prime minister, and female regional leaders. In Nigeria, have we ever gotten a female deputy governor, let alone a female vice president, female president? So in a climb where it's still heavy patriotic, where a lot of people still don't believe in women occupying certain position, this is the best way to do it. So say Nigerians will start accepting that female can handle certain position with pressure, even under pressure. So we have these two different categories of people. Where do you stand as this bill goes to the parliament?
Yeah. As regards to the bill, I will stand on the side of the women to become anything in Nigeria, because I don't want to tell you, there is no time we will fix that you want a woman to do something, so far that they have the capability and ability. Some of these women are more better than men. When you look at it, the way they handle the situation, you look at so many organizations, so many pastors and international community organizations, they have been very fine. So I will say that what we need precisely is to make sure that we have women that very, very strong and capable and have the ability to actually handle the position. Because I don't see it. You understand that you have to say you have to wait until a particular period. No, we should continue with what we have at present. Let the women continue to be involved, and then if they want to pass that bill should move beyond the state or federal. It should move with and involve the internal democracy of the political parties, so that they will consider women when they are taking into consideration the candidates that want to contest for election. That will make it more easier for women to agree to actually compete and actually fight for their rights within the political party, and also come out to become something in the Nigerian affairs. So me as a party, as a person, and from what I've seen from different angles from all over the world, women in Nigeria are capable and competent to handle any position in Nigeria. I'm on their side, to be honest.
So in other words, do you support this bill, or you rather prefer women compete?
No, I support the bill. No, I won't support the bill. That totally. Let's remove that clause that they should not be allowed now, or they should limit them to certain level. No, they should throw it open. But I'm sorry to say, let's look at what the men have been doing the last 40-50 years in Nigeria. What have they done that is so extraordinary that women cannot do? They have been doing worse. Let's try this women. Let them come out. Let them come out. They are mothers. They take care of children, so they need to take care of the country. That's the way I see it.
In other words, you support the bill, but they should take out certain clause to limit.
Yeah, they should take out because they should actually restricting women to certain level. No, it's never done. Because if you are doing an exam, do you say in the class that you give women preference than the men, and women or women preference than men? They will do the same exam, we work in the same way, and they have to compete in the same level with this level. If the electorate believe that they prefer some women in their community, what stop them? Let them go. Let them continue. That's my own perception.
But that is good in writing, but in practical, is that even realistic? Considering what's going on, I mean, we've seen what's going on in the Senate between the Senate leadership and Natasha Akpoti-Duagan. I mean, even after resumption, some people have pointed to the fact that she's always been sidelined. Whenever she raises her hand to make any contribution, they will not pick her, since the issue between her and the Senate president came to the forefront.
And that's why we have said that if there are more women in the National Assembly, especially at the Senate and Rep, you know that they will be able to have a larger voice, and they will step down those people that are trying to suppress women voice down. Do you understand? It's because there are only few of them, and some of them, there are only four. There are four. And they are not that the two are not really, they have a nonchalant attitude, they are uncaring attitude. Only one person is trying to support her. If it's a situation where you are having 15, 20, 30 women in the parliament, you know that their voice will be harder. It will be hard than one or two persons. That's the way I perceive it. So you will see some men, even at home, they suppress women. Talk less when you come to the issue of national issue or any working place. So they all believe it. I know women have certain things they can do. Although they have their own weakness, it's normal. We are all human beings. But I believe that if there are more, if there are many in the National Assembly or other state or local or federal, they will be able to perform well and able to. Even there are so many ways we can handle that situation. The moment they are trying to do certain things that is strong, the only thing you can see that maybe the Senate president is a man, we just tell them, please, what you are doing is against the national issue interest. I think we can curb them to a certain level. But you should give them the equal right. That's me.
Okay, to our next topic, the House of Representatives has moved to grant the EFCC more powers and full dependence to enhance its operational efficiency. In other words, they're trying to move a bill to limit president's control over EFCC chairman. How will that work, though? How will that be visible when you see that this EFCC chairman will still be the one that will be appointed by the president? And
thank you so much.
And of course, he who pays the piper that takes the tune.
Thank you so much. That's a good area. If the National Assembly is ready to take that kind of action, you will see that if you not at initial stage curb the excesses of the president, it will reduce it to a certain level. But at the same time, let me tell you, if you look at, if Nigeria wants to move forward, there are so many areas, not only EFCC, there are so many sectors of the economy that they need to,
including INEC.
Including judiciary, this appointment of the judges has to be made sure that it's not done by the president, it's not done by the state governors. That's why they're able to have their own hand and do what they can do, and they believe they are above the law. The moment the one thing we need to have is that that's why I'm thinking about this woman. If these women are in the Senate and the House of Assembly, majority of the time they don't compromise. They will actually stand up and say that this is what the law says, this is what the bill that will pass by the Senate and the Rep, and the president must take to it. Even though he's going to appoint, they have to tell him that you have to send the list of your appointees to the INEC, to the Assembly. And if the Assembly is not approved, it cannot approve anybody by his own fiat. I don't understand what I'm saying. So these are the things area we are going to get there. It's a matter of time. Do I always believe it? The moment we can do that, let's start from that. Let the Senate have the power to say that, Mr. President, you cannot continue to appoint the INEC chairman, you cannot appoint the AFC chairman, and then you cannot have the control. But the moment is able to, we can have that bill on ground, then most of the excesses of the president and the misuse of power will be reduced, and then we can actually move forward from there.
On the other hand, it will be interesting to see how this works out, especially for a National Assembly that has been tagged an apron of the presidency. The National Assembly that have been tagged a rubber stamp. It will be interesting to see how this happened. And then,
can I?
Okay.
Yes. Can I say something?
Okay.
There's something you have to realize in life. Something started sometimes and go to hands one day. All these things we are seeing today in Nigeria, it will not go on like you see. God may actually come to our rescue and then use this National Assembly to do undo, because there's only way out. The moment we have some people that say they are ready to do the right thing and they are ready to stand by the test of the day, you will see many things will change and won't deceive you. Because I agree with you that we agree that this National Assembly is a rubber stamp, but we have been praying and God will change their mind and they will actually do something that they are not ready to do by God's grace.
Professor Adegboyega, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
You are welcome, sir. You are welcome. You are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's Raymond Adegboyega, current affairs analyst and professor of accounting, banking and finance, British American University, Florida. And now to stories outside Nigeria. United States President Donald Trump has imposed sanctions on Russia for the first time since returning to the White House, citing the lack of progress in ceasefire talks to end Moscow's war on Russia. The same day, European Union leaders approved their 19th Russian sanctions package. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the sanctions will target Russia's two largest oil companies, Lukoil and Rosneft, due to Russian President Vladimir Putin's refusal to end this senseless war in Ukraine and Moscow's lack of serious commitment to the peace process. The measures taken by the Department of the Treasury, which also sanctioned dozens of Rosneft and Lukoil subsidiaries, blocked the U.S. assets of the designated firms while preventing Americans from doing business with them. Notable absent from the U.S. sanctions were Chinese and Indian buyers of Russian oil. Trump said that it would raise concerns about China's purchases of Russian oil during his sit-down with President Xi Jinping at the 2025 APEC summit in South Korea next week. The U.S. Treasury Department also said it was prepared to take further action if Russia continues to wage its more than 3 years war in Ukraine. And now to sports news. A National Basketball Association player and coach are among dozens of people charged with 2 investigations centered on illegal sports betting and mafia-linked poker games, the FBI has announced. Miami Heat player Terry Rozier was among 6 people arrested over alleged betting irregularities, including other players who may have faked injuries. Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups is one of 31 people charged in a separate illegal poker game case involving former players and organized crime figures. Rozier's lawyer denied any wrongdoing. In a statement, the NBA said that Rozier and Billups are being placed on immediate leave as the association is reviewing the federal indictment. U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Joseph Nocella Jr., said all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, but warned that the winning streak has ended. FBI Director Kash Patel called the arrest extraordinary and said there was a coordinated takedown across 11 states. Prosecutors said the first case involved players and associates who allegedly used insider information to manipulate bets on major platforms. And just before we go, here again are the top stories. Jonathan faces mounting pressure to drop presidential bid for 2027. Governors back bill on reserved seats for women. Reps move to limit president's control over EFCC chairman. Kanu fails to open defense again as court adjourns until Monday. President Tinubu tasks new INEC chairman on electoral integrity. On international news, Trump hit Russia's oil giants with sanctions. And in sports, Portland Trail Blazers coach and Miami Heat player arrested in NBA gambling case. And that's the world news at 12. I am Solomon of FM. Do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.